The five-star rank of General of the Army is the highest U.S. Army rank, created during World War II to honor exceptional military leaders. First awarded in 1944 to Marshall, MacArthur, Eisenhower, Arnold, and Omar Bradley received it in 1950. The rank recognized extraordinary wartime service. History of the General of the Army rank. Established during World War II to match Allied ranks, the General of the Army recognized exceptional military leadership. Initially awarded in 1944, it was later granted post-war in 1950 to Omar Bradley for outstanding service. George C. Marshall. George C. Marshall, U.S. Army Chief of Staff during World War II, was the mastermind behind organizing and training the largest American military force in history. His leadership and strategic vision earned him the title the Organizer of Victory. On December 16, 1944, he was promoted to General of the Army, a rank created to match the top Allied commanders, recognizing his vital role in coordinating global operations. After the war, as Secretary of State, he introduced the Marshall Plan, which rebuilt war-torn Europe and strengthened democratic stability. For his efforts to promote peace, he received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1953. Marshall's legacy endures as a model of integrity, leadership, and global cooperation. Douglas MacArthur. Douglas MacArthur was one of America's most distinguished and bold military leaders. As commander of U.S. Army forces in the Pacific during World War II, he led Allied forces through decisive campaigns, fulfilling his famous vow, "I shall return," with the liberation of the Philippines in 1944. On December 18, 1944, he was promoted to General of the Army, in recognition of his strategic brilliance and leadership in securing victory in the Pacific. After Japan's surrender, he directed the Allied occupation of Japan, overseeing political, social, and economic reforms that transformed it into a stable democracy. MacArthur's legacy stands as a symbol of determination, innovation, and post-war reconstruction rooted in peace and progress. Dwight D. Eisenhower. Dwight D. Eisenhower rose from modest beginnings to become commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force in Europe during World War II, leading the monumental D-Day invasion of Normandy in June 1944. His diplomatic skill unified diverse Allied forces, ensuring coordinated success across Europe. On December 20, 1944, he was promoted to General of the Army, recognizing his decisive leadership in defeating Nazi Germany. After the war, he served as Army Chief of Staff, later becoming Supreme Commander of NATO and eventually the 34th President of the United States. Eisenhower's legacy endures as that of a calm, unifying leader whose strategic mind and commitment to peace defined both wartime victory and post-war stability. Henry H. Arnold. Henry H. Hap Arnold was the pioneering architect of America's air power and the only U.S. officer to hold five-star rank in two services, the U.S. Army and later the U.S. Air Force. As commander of the Army Air Forces during World War II, he transformed a modest air arm into a global force of more than 2 million personnel and 80,000 aircraft. His leadership ensured air superiority in both the European and Pacific theaters, shaping the success of Allied operations. On December 21, 1944, he was promoted to General of the Army, later becoming the first General of the Air Force in 1949. Arnold's legacy lives on in the modern Air Force, symbolizing innovation, strategic vision, and the power of air dominance. Omar N. Bradley. Omar N. Bradley was one of America's most respected and steady military leaders, known as the Soldier's General for his calm and compassionate command style. During World War II, he led U.S. ground forces in the D-Day invasion and the liberation of France, ultimately commanding over 1 million troops in Europe. On September 20, 1950, he was promoted to General of the Army, the last U.S. officer to receive this rank. After the war, Bradley became the first chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, where he guided military policy during the early Cold War and Korean War. His legacy is defined by humility, professionalism, and his enduring contribution to building America's modern joint military structure. The General of the Army remains a symbol of unmatched military leadership, honoring those who shaped U.S. history. Share your thoughts. Who do you think was the most powerful and famous?